So I wanted to take a minute today to talk about one of the books I've written, which is this one right here. I've written a number of them, but let's talk about that one. Um, that book came out of some work I was doing as an engineer. The concept of the book is pretty interesting, I think. It is about what would happen if a rogue nation or some terrorist organization, rogue nation in this case, got a hold of some nuclear weapons and wanted to use them. How would they deliver them? Because we got all this military tracking stuff. We can kind of look at the whole globe. How would they actually do it? And when I was working as an engineer on this one project, our job was to try to find a way to develop a sensor that could detect smuggled nuclear material. And my first question was, is this really a big issue? I mean, does this really happen where we're smuggling nuclear radiological stuff around? And the answer is, yeah, it actually is an issue. Um, so it got me thinking and kind of kept me up at night on occasion. Get me thinking, what would happen if somebody got enough of that to put in one spot to make a couple of weapons out of it? So I started doing some research. Well, it turns out there's actually been a number of nuclear weapons just lost over the years. They're kind of missing somewhere and nobody knows where they are. There's a number of incidents where things have been taken from different uh, power plants over the years. There's material out there. So if it fell in the wrong hands, how would you deliver it? Now you're going to look at me and say, "Oh, look, it's too hard to build a nuke." Well, in 1940, it was really hard, right? Today's technology is not 1940 anymore. It's a much different world. How do you deliver it is really the biggest problem. If you're trying to fly a bomber, send a missile, that's really hard. But is there an alternative method for it? And it turns out there actually are some alternative methods for it. So we put some of those into a book. We decided to have a little fun with it and turn it into a fiction series. This is part one. Part two deals with what happens if a bioweapon gets on the list. Is a whole different subject. But this particular one, we wanted to put it in a spot where it would do the most damage. So we really thought through if you only had a limited number of these devices, let's say you had five nuclear weapons, where would you put them to do the most damage to the people that are going to respond to what you just did to them? And we picked very carefully picked some locations, which is exactly what an enemy would do. And then we said, okay, if we as the United States, who just got bombed, knew that our enemy had used their entire nuclear arsenal, how would we respond to that? Would it be with overwhelming nuclear force? Would the international community allow that? Or would we respond with some kind of a conventional war? How would that process go? So we laid it out in this book. It's on Amazon. You can find it today under Timothy M. Holt. Michael Garst is my co-author. Mike, I'm a physicist. Everybody on the channel knows that. I am an Army veteran way back. Got out in '96, pre-Gulf War on terror. Mike is a former combat medic I've known since the 1980s. And he was in Afghanistan and obviously saw more combat injuries than he cares to talk about. But some of the injuries in the book are things you probably might have imagined he would have seen. So I hope you enjoy the book. The physics works out. The physics is real. The combat injuries are very real. It has gotten great reviews on Amazon. It's a 4+ star average. I think it's over 500 reviews now. Enjoy it. It's available on Audible, Kindle, and in print. Everybody have a great day.